May 29th, 1914, St. Lawrence River, Canada, 2 a.m. A luxury liner is steaming through thick fog. In 14 minutes, she will sink, faster than the Titanic. 1,012 people will die, more than the Lusitania. But you've probably never heard of her. This is the RMS Empress of Ireland, Canada's forgotten Titanic. The Empress of Ireland is heading home to Liverpool. She departed Quebec City at 4:30 p.m. Thursday, May 28, 1914. The ship is magnificent, 570 feet, 14,000 tons, one of Canadian Pacific Railway's finest ocean liners. Captain Henry Kendall stands on the bridge, experienced, confident. This is a routine voyage. But the St. Lawrence River is dangerous, narrow, shallow, heavy ship traffic, and tonight there is fog. At 1:30 a.m., the fog begins to roll in, thick, suffocating. Visibility drops to nothing. Captain Kendall orders the ship's speed reduced. He sounds the foghorn, standard procedure. Through the fog, another ship is approaching, the SS Storstad, a Norwegian collier, 6,000 tons, loaded with 11,000 tons of coal. Captain Thomas Andersen commands the Storstad. He sees the Empress's lights through the fog. Both captains see each other, briefly. Then the fog closes in completely. Both ships vanish from each other's sight. Captain Kendall orders the engines stopped. The Empress drifts, waiting for the fog to clear. On the Storstad, Captain Andersen makes a different decision. He keeps moving, slowly, trying to pass the Empress on her port side. But in the fog, he miscalculates. At 1:55 a.m., the Storstad's bow, reinforced with ice-breaking steel, emerges from the fog. She is heading directly at the Empress of Ireland. Captain Kendall sees her. Too close, too late. Full astern, hard to port. But the Storstad is already there.
The Storstad's bow strikes the Empress of Ireland on her starboard side. The impact tears open a massive hole, 14 feet wide, from the waterline down to the bottom of the ship. Water floods into the lower decks immediately, the boiler rooms, the engine rooms, the third-class cabins. Captain Kendall runs to the starboard bridge wing. He sees the damage. The Storstad is stuck, her bow wedged into the Empress's side. For a moment, she acts like a plug, holding back the water. Then the two ships drift apart. The Storstad pulls free. Water rushes in, thousands of tons per minute. The Empress of Ireland begins to list. 10 degrees, then 20, then 30. Below decks, chaos. Third-class passengers sleep in cabins below the waterline. The water hits them first. Many drown in their beds, trapped, no warning, no time. The ship's emergency watertight doors fail. They were supposed to close automatically. They don't. Water floods freely through the lower decks. The list increases, 45 degrees. Passengers struggle up tilting corridors. Furniture slides, people fall. The ship is rolling over. On deck, crew members try to launch lifeboats, but the list is too severe. The portside boats swing inward, useless. The starboard boats hang too far out, unreachable. Only a handful of lifeboats successfully launch. The Empress of Ireland rolls further, 60 degrees, then 90 degrees. She is on her side. People slide down the deck into the freezing water. The St. Lawrence River, 4 degrees Celsius. Captain Kendall holds on to the bridge. He watches his ship die. 14 minutes after the collision, the Empress of Ireland disappears beneath the surface. Among the 1,477 people aboard the Empress of Ireland, 170 are members of the Salvation Army. They are traveling to London for an international congress. Delegates from across Canada, officers, band members, young cadets, families.
Commissioner David Rees leads the group, a respected leader, devoted. When the collision happens, many Salvation Army members are asleep in their cabins. The water floods the lower decks, trapping them. Some make it to the upper decks. They help others, singing hymns. As the ship rolls over, many are thrown into the water. The Salvation Army band members, 30 musicians, go down together, still in uniform, some still holding their instruments. Of the 170 Salvation Army members aboard, 130 die. Only 40 survive. Commissioner Rees survives. He spends hours in the freezing water, clinging to debris, watching people around him die from hypothermia. When he is finally rescued, he has lost almost everyone he knew. The Salvation Army community is devastated. Entire families gone. Whole congregations lost. It is the greatest tragedy in Salvation Army history.
The SS Storstad immediately attempts rescue. Captain Andersen launches his lifeboats. His crew pulls survivors from the water. Other ships arrive, the Lady Evelyn, the Eureka, small steamers from nearby towns. They search through the night, finding survivors clinging to wreckage, bodies floating, lifeboats drifting. Of the 1,477 people aboard the Empress of Ireland, only 465 survive. 1,012 die. It is the worst maritime disaster in Canadian history, worse than the Titanic in terms of death rate, 68% fatality rate versus Titanic's 67%. And it happened faster. The Titanic took 2 hours and 40 minutes to sink. The Empress took 14 minutes. But the world barely notices. The disaster happens on May 29, 1914. 10 weeks later, World War I begins. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, Europe erupts into war. The Empress of Ireland is forgotten, buried under the headlines of global conflict. An inquiry is held. Captain Kendall blames Captain Andersen. Andersen blames Kendall. The court finds the Storstad primarily at fault for continuing to move through the fog. But it doesn't matter. The dead don't come back.
Today, the Empress of Ireland lies at the bottom of the St. Lawrence River, 130 feet deep, cold, dark. She is one of the most dangerous dive sites in the world. Strong currents, freezing water, limited visibility. Over a dozen divers have died exploring the wreck. In Canada, there are memorials, plaques, museum exhibits, but most people have never heard of the Empress of Ireland. She is Canada's Titanic, but without the fame, without the movies, without the global recognition. 1,012 people died. 130 Salvation Army members lost. The ship sank in 14 minutes, faster than any major passenger liner before or since. And it happened because of fog, a miscalculation, a collision that could have been prevented. Remember the RMS Empress of Ireland. May 29, 1914, the deadliest shipwreck in Canadian history. The disaster the world forgot.